Hey y'all, welcome back to For the Fans Entertainment, where today we are so excited to break down the premiere episode of Survivor 41. It's been so long, and I am so glad to have it back on our TV screens, and I think it was a really great premiere episode, so we are excited to dig into it. We will be taking comments throughout the show, so if you want to share your thoughts on the premiere episode, who you like, who you don't like, how you think the tribes are going to do, all the new twists, then make sure to drop a comment. We will hit on those as we're going through. And make sure you subscribe to For the Fans. We've got a lot of great stuff coming your way during the Survivor season. So we want to make sure that you're joining along with us. So subscribe so you don't miss anything that's going on. Frank, Stan, what are y'all's thoughts?
I had a blast watching it. I think my face hurt when I was done because I was just cheesing the whole time. And for the first time, I was kind of okay with commercial breaks because I just had so much 2 hours. I don't think I could have sat quietly for 2 hours without talking. So I needed those commercial breaks to talk to Stan and talk to my wife and be like, oh my God, it's happening. Because it's been so long and I'm just excited it's back. I'm on a Survivor high right now.
Yeah. Stan, what are your thoughts?
First of all, thanks for having me.
Yes. I mean, I probably should have done an introduction at the beginning, but we just skimmed over that. So we're very excited to welcome Stan to our For the Fans crew. Stan, he's just kind of a chump. Like, none of y'all really know him.
No.
He doesn't, anyways. So Stan, you can tell our viewers a little bit more about you and give your thoughts.
I think I don't really do these things. I don't do podcasts. I've never watched podcasts, to be completely honest, but Survivor's back. Survivor's my favorite show. We'll get to the content, and this is such a dynamic and diverse and inclusive season with a lot of people of color. And it's a special, it has a special meaning for me because it's the first time where I felt like, Survivor finally represented my people, whether I'm Asian or African American or Indian or Hispanic. There's more than like white people on TV that we see vote each other out. And Big Brother kind of preemptively did that with the cookout, but Survivor's my favorite show. I don't really follow Big Brother that much. I just go on Jokers and look what happened. But Survivor's been like my favorite game since like season one, when I used to, I'm from the Philippines and I watched Survivor when I was like, I'm gonna give away my age, but when I was 11 years old, season one, like Richard Hatch, I was telling people like I was watching Survivor when it aired at 8 a.m. in the morning, and I had school.
Yeah,
So
that's an awesome story.
It's you wait till evening time because it airs prime time, but in America it's Wednesday or Thursday nights at 8, but it's 8 a.m. for us.
Yeah, that's so cool.
For someone like me who's not really from America, that has grown and loved the show, and we're going to touch on a bunch of people that have the kind of, I'm just going to jump the gun. Nasir, he's from Sri Lanka, and he watched season 21, and that's the same thing that we're going through. And there's a lot of people out there that share the same sentiment, and there were no spoilers back then.
Is that how you learned English? Is that
I was going to say now, like that's a cool story. But did you learn English from Survivor? Because
no, I went to private school. 9 of the class in English. So and the Philippines is an American colony. So
yeah,
back in the day, so they taught us, and you have an accent, but it is what it is. But I didn't learn. I definitely understood everything that Jeff said, but.
Yeah,
enough about me. That's my intro. I'm super happy. This is a great season. I am excited to join, and I'll save it for the end, but we have some treats in store for you for every single week for this Survivor recap.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's just get into some of these new changes that we saw. I think there was a lot of breaking the fourth wall with Jeff and, speaking directly to the camera. Hey, little kids. A little creepy at times, but, he was making sure that, he talked preseason about the changes that we were going to see and how it's a new era of Survivor. You kept hearing that last night. And so he talks about like, okay, there's going to be different advantages, more meager supplies, the 28 days. And I feel like even just him, you know, the way like showing the camera crews,
yeah, we had the radio in the beginning. We could hear like the background stuff.
Yeah, I think
I
that
thought
was
it
all
definitely
very
had a
different.
lot of season 1 vibes where he was just explaining the game as a new. I
Yeah.
think that someone said it in another podcast that, and it was like made sense to me. It's like, sir, in 2020, all these people were sitting at home, never seen Survivor before, didn't have anything to watch, and then they found 40 seasons, they binge watched it. So we have a whole new group of Survivor fans, I think. I think on top of the old veterans like the three of us, we have some really fresh new super fans that
Yeah.
they're going to appreciate this new era and the new introduction to a brand new style of game.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. I think it's great because and think about it. I think Survivor's gone on for 20 something years. And to be completely honest, I don't think that there are a lot of new. Well, my friend was just talking about it the other day. She's like, "You guys still watch Survivor?" And like, I get that a
Hell
lot.
yeah.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing, guys. I don't think we're getting new followers. I don't think
Yeah.
we're getting a lot of new followers. I think going on Netflix was huge for
Mhm.
Survivor, but all the 5 million or however many people around the world that watch Survivor since season 1, like that are like kind of super fans. Like certainly, like I know my family in the Philippines, they watch Survivor. They know what's going on. But then like,
Yeah.
what's crazy is like you don't lose the fans that have been like Kylie. You're not gonna watch 42.
Right.
So like
Yeah.
Survivor keeps their fans and keeps their fans guessing. And after the pandemic, and then they have this new season. Yeah, I know what's going on in the background. We know people that have worked in the crew before, so it's kind of cool for them to show, hey, this is actually what kind of happens in the back, and like show us what goes behind instead of it being like televised.
Yeah.
Like in a production in a way, they're more like, I'm gonna hide this clue with the Yas tribe and see
Yeah.
what happens.
I think another thing that's going to grow maybe the fan base is back 20 years ago, Survivor was only happening in the US, am I right? Now, it's in
Right.
every country. So why tune into the US version if you're from another part of the world when you just get on there and it's a bunch of white people that look like me and Kylie? Now with a more diverse cast, I
Look
think
like
they
me
might
now.
they might get more viewers from all over the world, and I think that we're like on a new era because Paramount Plus now has Australian Survivor on it. I think that we're gonna get to see more of Survivor around the world. Maybe even one day we'll get a season where there's people from all over the world from the other
I
Survivors
want
and
the
all
Golden
start
God to
player.
play American Survivor.
Oh, it's a dream. It's a dream,
Yeah,
but that's
yeah, no, Frank, I think that's a very good point. I do think that's something that we would see. We know, obviously, the challenge is the cousin of Survivor, and we have seen over the last 3 years where they're pulling in people from all different countries, and they've found some real gems. And so I could definitely see a potential season like that where we have like this converging of all the different survivors. Another thing I thought was really, really good last night having the 2-hour episode is we got some more in-depth looks at a lot of the survivors. Not everybody, but I'd say, you know, probably about half. I feel like we actually really got to know them. We got a lot of background information. So I thought we could kind of go through the cast, talk about our first impressions, the things we learned about them, and then we'll get into breaking down the episode. So first, let's talk about Tiffany. So we get the background story of Tiffany where she is a previvor. And she goes on to explain that she was like one of the first people in the world to have a prophylactic surgery because of this breast cancer gene that is carried in her family. And just like hearing her story, I mean, that got me choked up. Like just hearing someone that in the true essence of the word is a survivor. Like
yeah,
I
my
think
wife
that
looked at me we were in the bar watching Survivor premiere, and she looked at me and she goes, Survivor's about to make me cry up in the club. Like, and I was like, hold it in.
Yeah, no, I mean, I thought it was a really touching moment. I'm not a super emotional person, but I just really connected with her story and, what it means for her to be out here and have this opportunity. And I do think that we kind of got that from everybody, and that, like, we know how blessed we are to be on season 41 of Survivor after this 18-month break because of what's happening in the world. But beyond that, looking specifically at her story, I was like, okay, wow.
Yeah. Talk about,
So
like,
I have
she
like,
just,
I mean, sorry.
go ahead.
I mean, I'm a physician, so I studied the BRCA gene for my boards, and it's something that predisposes to ovarian cancer and breast cancer and whatnot. And I think, you know, it's an amazing story. Wasn't she like the last minute alternate too?
Yeah, and she was found out 24 hours before
24
coming
hours
on.
before. And
Buy lottery tickets for all of us, Tiffany. Because,
That's crazy.
like, catching the cancer before it hit stage 1, just like...
kind of like finding a hidden immunity idol that can be read after the votes. Because you're like, oh, I got breast cancer, but I have a hidden immunity idol. I got rid of all of it before it even got there. Sorry, I'm being super nerdy, but that's kind of like that's a corollary to like the game. Like that's a parallel to how the game is. From a medical perspective, your mom had it, it's passed on genetically, and then you're like, all right, well, I have it, let me prophylactically do this, and it's amazing, and it's amazing that she can share her story, and it's a testament to the Survivor casting that they show. It's not you know the good looking dudes with the six packs and the models that have like 10 out of 10.
They don't all live in
mean,
California this season.
Even in the little, generic white faces that you see, we're getting more in depth and
people are relatable. People are
that's something that I don't have anyone close to me that is a breast cancer survivor, but I mean, I've talked on our other shows, like, I have a child that has special needs. My young nephew is a cancer survivor, so like just hearing those stories, like it really gets me choked up. And so it's good to have somebody that you can see, even as a white person, being like, oh, okay, that's someone I can really relate to.
Correct.
Like she's not an Instagram model, she's just a normal person. So
I don't think she's a normal person. I think she's an extraordinary person, and I think that's one thing that makes this cast amazing is every single person seems like an extraordinary person.
Thanks for putting me in my place. No shade to you, Tiffany. I'm not trying to say that you're ordinary.
I get what you're saying. We have people from all walks of life.
Yeah.
But man, are they extraordinary people.
Yeah.
Sorry. How it is.
So moving on from Tiffany, we'll talk more about her, as she did play a pretty, good role in this episode. We do get introduced to Danny. Danny is not an ordinary person at all. Somewhat. He's an incredible football player. He made it to the NFL, but he didn't have an easy path there. He didn't have an easy path into, one of the top football programs in the country. I mean, LSU, what's up? So, even Danny's story of having to fight, being a walk-on at LSU, being a walk-on, like undrafted into the NFL, he's a fighter, and he's used to doing this too.
And I think that's what's important for Danny's story is like everyone kind of knows he's an NFL player, but the fact that he's downplaying it, and when Xander and JD were asking him, kind of like up in the mountain, he's like, "Oh, everyone thinks you're a football player." He's like, "I walked on an LSU. Like, I'm not an NFL player because you're not gonna give someone $1 million. Not that he probably needs $1 million to survive, but in the final 3, I think Danny is someone who loves the game so much that he wants. I mean, if you're a professional, like a retired NFL player, you're done. Like, but then this is like an adventure that people seek in their life, and although people are gonna say, "Oh, Danny's a professional," like Uncle Cliff, rest in peace, from season 28, Cagayan. I love Survivor, and it's so cool to see these people that we watch. And I was a huge basketball fan growing up. I knew Uncle Cliff, and he popped on my screen in Cagayan. I'm like, "Oh my God, Cliff Robinson's playing!" I exactly knew. I would have been the woo. I was like, "Oh my God, Uncle Cliff, let's work together." Take him to the end
Yeah.
and put him at 4.
Danny is 100% a super fan. Denny, who also just joined the team that's going to be on the show after this, I believe she worked with his wife, right?
Yeah.
And he's been trying to get on forever.
Yeah,
Super
so
fan.
he's not a recent Survivor convert. He's been following along for years. And so, it's cool just having another layer of a type of person. Once again, we're going to talk more about Danny. He played a very, very big role last night. All right, let's move on to our next one that we kind of got a little more background information on. Your boy Brad. Frank, did Brad bring what you wanted him to bring?
He brought shit, for sure. He did some things I didn't think I'd see from him. He made me panic because I have a lot of money riding on him. Like, I was like, no, if I lose money later in the season, I can deal with it. But on night 1, that would have been hard. But I think we did get to know Brad. He recently lost his father. He's taken over the ranch that's been with his family. He's just a good old boy. He wants to play this game very straightforward, straight shooter. A little too straight, and we'll get to that, but I loved Brad. I think he's a fun personality. I think he's the right kind of weird that a lot of people can relate to. I think he's going to relate to so many different people, not just the farmers, not just the weirdos. I think he's going to hit a lot of boxes.
I think he's a goat.
I mean, we'll get to it, but he kind of did control the vote.
Okay, so anyway, moving on from Brad, let's talk about JD. JD was probably, coming into the season, the one I was most high on. Like, in our cast assessment, I liked what I read about JD. Listening to, like, preseason press, I was like, yes, like, I am on board with him. Woo! Okay, y'all. I'm going to take a step back from the JD stand-up. Not completely jumping off board, but I'm going to like pump the brakes a little bit because I saw some things that really, really, really worried me about his game as a Survivor player.
You said it on the cast assessment, though, that JD in 6-8 years would be fantastic for Survivor. And that's the vibe I got. The kid has so much charisma. The kid's oozing charisma, but he doesn't know how to turn that down. He hasn't had those life experiences. He hasn't dealt with, I think, all those different types of people that are out there. I think there are a couple people that he's going to be able to click with really well, but not everyone.
He's like a wide-eyed kid in the candy store. So one of our friends, one of my little brothers, Chapman, I told everyone, Chapman, JD's the Black Chapman. He's like this really, really charismatic guy with the same glasses as JD too. Is really funny, but like he's like, oh my god, everything's so cool, and he's super likable, super charismatic, super like. And that's JD. Like JD's super charismatic, but bro, like, come on, tone down.
So I was worried about JD for the majority of this episode. I think that the producers kind of set him up. Like I was like, oh Lord, this is it. He's kind of the Frenchie of the season. Like he's here for a good time, not a long time.
That's right.
But I'm hoping that making it through this first vote, that he's going to be able to reel it in a little bit. The producers obviously like what they're getting from JD. He definitely drove the narrative throughout the entire episode. So he's interesting. We also got a little bit about his background, moved around a lot, kind of just didn't really fit in, kind of nerdy. And then he's just kind of grown into himself and he started running and he was good at it and he's gaining confidence. And so this he is pumped. Okay. He is excited for his opportunity.
Yeah. He's so excited that he couldn't slow down making the fire. And I'm 34 and I did that on real foot. And Stan yelled at me afterwards. He's like, you could have built that in an hour instead of 5 minutes.
Let them struggle.
So, yeah.
I think
but he was out there like, I'm a survivor.
Think about exactly. Like I think you have to think about, even though it's a truncated 26-day season, it's a marathon, not a sprint. Like I think what JD has going against him is he has so much visibility in the first episode that if you look at it from there, he's not winning this game.
No chance.
There's no chance he's winning this game. I think people are gonna like him. They want people to like him. Hang on JD's story. Some people are gonna be like kind of, but then he's gonna go down in a blaze of glory.
Yeah.
By his fault, and I'm calling it now.
probably.
It's gonna be his fault because of something. That it's to be JD's the demise because of him, not anyone else. And that's kind of like the arc. He's a character, an absolute character.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun to watch how he ends up doing this season.
All right, so moving on from JD, let's talk about Ricard. So, Frank, Ricard is another one you were super high on coming into the season. What do you think about, with the background we learned about Ricard, what we saw of him?
So
Still on Team Ricard?
what I was digging into him before, I thought he was going to come off a little more chill and like keep that stuff till later in the game, but man, I do think he's got a really strong pulse on the game. I think he saw things like the charisma that JD had. He knows Survivor 101 is if somebody gets sent away, like, let's push the target heavily on them. I think he's doing all the right things. I think he's in the right place in his tribe. I do think he played a little too aggressive for the premiere episode than I think he wanted to play, but I think he's suffering the same thing that JD is this is his dream and he's living it. It's hard to rein it in. I think it's going to take maybe they need to wear down on that energy a little. A couple nights sleeping without a fire, no rice. He might tone it down a little bit.
But you also see that a lot of these people like are talking about this in their confessional.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's well, you guys are gonna bring him up, but Voce was talking about it in his confessional, not so much with the tribe.
Yeah,
right. Like in regards doing the same thing, he's not really talking about it. Oh my God! But Brad's going after this person and this person. He's saying it in his confessional. He's like, JD's like making the fire too quick. JD's talking to everybody. He's just noticing things and telling the story that in his point of view. So whether or not it mattered at the end of the day, I think I know exactly what happened at the end of the day. But we'll talk about the strategy when Tribal Council hits. But
wow, it was an epic first.
It was an epic.
Another one we got quite a bit of background information on was Chantelle, where Chantelle, to me, was definitely the star of this episode. I didn't completely clock how good she was going to be in the preseason stuff. And she talks about she kind of had a rough upbringing. She got associated with gangs, but she, turned her life around and she's a pastor. But she's not the type of pastor that's just gonna, pray for you. She's gonna cut you and then
pray you back and then pray for forgiveness.
Pray for forgiveness. And so I don't think we've ever had somebody like Chantelle. I think she breaks the mold.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think Chantelle Shan had the perfect like Goldilocks first episode, like not too hot, not too cold, just right. And when she said the end, I think what kind of got what I think Chantelle's the clear number one from the power rankings, because her name was really never really had traction in the tribe of 6. Everyone's name's going to be thrown out, but like B, she kind of assessed her game in that one confessional. She was like, I'm on the top, I'm on the middle, and I'm in the bottom. And she said why she was on the top, she said why she was in the middle, she said why she was in the bottom. And that's such a good assessment on Tribal 1 about knowing exactly what your position is in the game. And I think no one really can see her as I would love for Chantelle to take it home this year. I'm rooting for her for sure, and didn't have her in any of my fantasy leagues, but I would love a Shan pastor to win.
Yeah, my parents are preachers. When we were doing the cast assessment, I really wasn't sold on her, because reading her bio, I'm a pastor, I want to kind of play like Pari, and I'm like, how does that even work? I didn't see it happening. And then I saw her TikTok and her social media, and I saw her personality come out, and I was like, wow, she's got every tool dynamic. It takes. So dynamic. And what really sold me on this episode is her little
we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
I can't wait. Yeah. But I do shit like that in my head when I do evil shit. So I loved her. Loved every bit about her.
Yeah, and at the end we can talk about like our overall impressions, how we think we see things go in the rest of the season, but Chantelle definitely left a big impression on me. Another one we got a lot of background information on was Jeannie. So, anyone change their opinion
Uh,
on Jeannie?
I love
Learning a little
Jeannie.
more about her.
I'm gonna
I
jump
loved her
over. I love.
her outfit. We
I
have
think
like the
Jeannie.
same.
That's true. She does have a pretty iconic
Yes,
outfit.
that's where I knew I'd seen that today when I was
Yeah.
rewatching the episode. You're Jeannie's twin.
I was low key pissed because I was like, shit, I was gonna wear this on the island, but now I'm just gonna be a Genie knockoff, which might not be a bad thing.
That's true. Right. So I love Jeannie. I think her. I didn't do a lot of research this game. I just kind of watched like a bunch of different videos of all the castaways and kind of. I love Jeannie's intro. I mean, first of all, she's her story when she was like, my then I guess my girlfriend at that time, now wife, proposed to me at 25, and my mom gave the diamond, and that's her form of acceptance. And like as Asian people, first of all, Asian women aren't supposed to be like there's a tradition, the Chinese, I think she's Chinese, but like or any Asian culture, that tradition is not supposed to be like that. And she's smashing the mold exactly of like how 2021 is supposed to be, and gone out of the. I'm not a traditional person, I never was, but like I love it how she just smashed all the preconceived notions, and she's someone who I'm absolutely rooting for. I think she just kind of underwhelmed me with the strategic game. But I think her intro video in which she's like, I'm Jeannie Machini, I'm super duper likable, and I know that, and everyone in the grocery likes me. I think she has a potential, if she is going to win this game, she has a potential to be, if she's a strategic Asian version of Elaine, she might win this game. I don't think there's a lot of people ahead of her, and I didn't that premiere wasn't the one that I wanted, but I love her. I've stolen her in every single draft I had.
Yeah. So, listening to her preseason press, I did like her more than just reading her bio.
Mhm.
The thing I will give Jeannie credit for is was like, okay, there's the first boot on that tribe, her, Brad, for sure. And so, I think that the fact that she rolled with it, even if she wasn't the one driving the vote, I think, being an older woman is probably the fact that she survived in a very small tribe is testament to her.
It's a social game. I think there's a lot of things you don't see in the camera, and I think if she's likable enough, and really all she had to do was, sure, Ricard, I'll do what you want to do. Sure,
Yeah.
Shannon, I'll just do what you want to do. And honestly, on the first vote in a tribe of 6, that's the best way to play.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she made it through it.
To me, if she can, the only shot she has, because she's not going to be a strategical genius mastermind, she's not just going to be that. She needs to latch on to one of those people and then rally all the people that aren't strategic at the end to vote out all the threats. That's her shot at the end. I was super surprised she wasn't first boot too, but I was watching her in that first challenge. Like, I watch all the older people and the people that I don't think will do well, and she was killing it in that first challenge where they're jumping out the boat, and she was paddling away. I was impressed. So
she's Jeannie Machini.
Yeah.
You guys, like,
all right, and then the last one we'll hit on just individually is Sarah. We found out a little bit about Sarah in that she lost her grandmother to COVID and just the impact. And I think that's something a lot of people can relate to, because I feel like everybody knows someone that has passed away in the past year because of COVID. And so
get vaccinated, everyone.
we're not going to go there because we don't want our video to get pulled down. Please don't. So anyways, we are proponents of protecting yourself. But anyway, so any thoughts on Sarah? She left you speechless. Okay.
I mean, she's another young player. Reading her bio, nothing really like wowed me. She, out of everyone on the cast, and I don't want to say this offensively, but she was kind of vanilla and boring to me. I don't think she's had to face any real adversity in her life. I think losing her grandma is probably Like, that was,
Only
like, just
thing.
happened last year, and I think that was probably the hardest thing she's ever done with. I think one of her proudest accomplishments was proving some engineers wrong while she was an intern. Like, that's
So
not tough
I
for me.
disagree a
So,
little bit in that listening to her press, I was very, very impressed with her. I liked the things that she said. I liked her strategy going into the game. She was someone that I thought had the potential to win the game. So, yeah, that was a little bit surprising to me. So,
have you ever met a 24-year-old that can play like Kim, though? Because that's who she wanted to play with. And I'm like, when I heard that, I was like, there's no way
You know
that
who's
you're
playing like
going to
Kim?
be able to play like Kim at 24.
Chantelle is
You just
playing
can't.
like him.
yeah. So I was impressed with her in her preseason. Obviously, she crashed and burned. But all right, let's get into actually
You missed
breaking down the
one. You missed
episode.
one. I have to bring it up. Nasir, we kind of talked about him earlier. I guess I just kind of wanted to. I guess he was kind of the first scene, right?
Mhm.
Like when Jeff brought in. I think that was a huge. First of all, he is one of the only people in this cast. And I briefly mentioned it earlier. Was born outside the United States. Clearly he's not from here. He's a big fan of the show. My take on Nasir is what I struggled with kind of assimilating in America when I moved. I kind of moved at such an early age. Just, well, how do I become socially adept and get people to kind of like understand me socially? And it's completely different. Like, it's completely different in what's socially appropriate in other countries than here. And the fact that he's bringing a complete different flavor, like Karishma, who's of that she's Indian, but in Nasir's Sri Lankan, I think. Yeah, he is, but like that part of the world is a little different. It's not Asia, it's not Africa, it's not South America, but it's like it is in Asia, but like India, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, they're different. It's different cultures, and I have a lot of brown friends, and then it's completely different. So I'm really interested. Nasir's gonna add that spice, that flavor to the game. Don't know what his win ability is, but I would really love to see someone who is completely international. Like Erica, who's Filipino, she's born in Canada. Like a lot of the people are like Danny, a lot of African Americans are born here. Nasir is different, and he's gonna hit that spice. He's gonna hit a little different this season. He's someone
He
to
may
watch.
not have been born in the U.S., but I think he's going to be America's sweetheart. I think everyone's going to love Nasir. I love Nasir.
There are a lot of people that could potentially be America's sweethearts, and
Yeah,
it's gonna be a lot.
I was high on Nasir coming in. He's another one that didn't quite hit it for me. I think that he made some mistakes. I think that they may have been setting up his near demise and his, maybe in the next couple episodes, we're going to see the downfall of Nasir. And so I did not like exactly what we got from him. But coming in, I was very, very hopeful, but a little bit worried about him.
Yeah, we'll talk more on that when we get to that part of the episode, because I think he kind of went about it the wrong way. I think he did the right thing, but the wrong way.
Yeah. All right. So let's just get into the marooning. Right off the bat, Jeff is like, hey, you're not getting food. You're only going to have a pot, a machete, and a flint, but you're going to have to earn it. And so you have to find your paddles, throw them overboard, unclip your boat, paddle around, come back, grab the flint. So what do y'all think about this style of marooning? We're not grabbing supplies. We're just trying to find some damn paddles.
I loved it. I was a little disappointed because Jeff didn't say you can't touch other people's oars. I would have grabbed one of those things and chucked it over the other side of the boat as far as I could. Like, they didn't say you couldn't. If I got all my paddles off, guess what? Sorry, Blue, but it might have helped Yellow.
That's
It
gonna
might.
put a huge target on you right away.
Yeah, I think that's a terrible
My tribe would
idea.
love it.
Terrible, exactly. Like
Terrible in the swap if you don't have numbers, but your tribe will love you,
Well,
and they'll know
terrible
you're their
forever.
shield.
That's gonna be the moment in Survivor where like Frank ain't winning the game.
Yeah.
But I'll be
So-
invited back for villains.
Well,
So we see
they're not doing returning seasons anymore. Unfortunately, Jeff
we
Lowe.
saw the Yasa tribe really struggle here. In rewatching it, I'm going to come to their defense a little bit because there was this yellow rope tied around their yellow paddle. Like it was definitely camouflage. So without the blue and the green one there, I completely understand why they missed this. And Jeff like dug in the knife and turned it. Yellow, they have no chance. They suck. They're the worst tribe ever.
Yeah, what I thought was funny is
Okay.
5 minutes before that, Jeff's like, "We're dropping the 4. This is 1." And then 5 minutes later, he's like, "The worst performance in 41 seasons." Jeff, you had to bring up the 4 back up when you're burning people.
But if you think about it, though, Kylie's absolutely right. Like my wall is kind of like yellow, and this kind of like blends in, whereas this, they will stand out. And
Yeah. Were there any other things on the boat that were colored blue?
They're not going to be cerulean blue.
I didn't really notice it, but I mean, it was yellow rope, and that was tied around that paddle. And so, like I said, without the blue and the green one there, it's very easy for me to understand how they overlooked it. So, anyways, we see the blue tribe. What's their name? I've already forgotten. Luvu, yeah. So we see them get off their paddles first, and they start paddling away. And I'm pretty certain,
I was so confused.
I'm pretty certain they would still be paddling if Jeff hadn't stopped them. So Jeff said, "Hey, you got to unclip the front and the back." They missed that memo. They only unclipped the front. And if Danny had not been on that boat, their asses wouldn't have moved not 1 inch.
Yeah.
So they super, super struggled. And we get to see the Ua tribe pull out this miraculous win, in my opinion, because I thought that they would struggle. And they got their little paddles. They came back. They have 1 flint. And that's the biggest thing. They needed that flint. So were y'all shocked that it was Ua that pulls out this win?
I wasn't. I thought that for sure that green just was going to have that vibe, that cohesion. I think out front, blue is the physically dominant tribe.
Yeah.
I think all around, though, I'm still putting my money. I think after tonight, the green tribe is definitely a lot weaker, but I'm still thinking that they can pull together as a unit.
I don't think blue is the strongest tribe physically.
Physically? Yeah.
Yes.
Just because they have Danny.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
yes.
But
pushes it in your favor quite a bit.
But Survivor's not gonna be just based on brute strength.
But a lot of it in the team aspect, there is a lot of physicalness. Once I don't think Danny is necessarily the next Joey Amazing once we get to the merge, and then he's going to run the board, because so many of those, it's almost better to be somebody of Evie's build, small and petite. Somebody like that actually does a lot better in the individual game. But I think as a tribe, having somebody like Danny is very, very, very.
I think Xander's a good example rather than Evie on the physique of that individual game.
Yeah.
Because he's small, compact, but still
agile. I think so. Xander is, the token white, good-looking male. He's 20. I think this is a good time to introduce Xander.
I think he impressed me a lot. He was down low on my radar, and I was really impressed with him this episode.
So I have heard of Xander because Jack Atkins, who's on the circle, is one of my really good friends, and Xander is actually little in his fraternity. So they both went to the University of Chicago. Backstory is Xander, before he met Jack, wasn't really a huge fan, but Jack is a huge Survivor fan. And then they kind of got, lived in the frat house and kind of knowing each other. Jack introduced him to Survivor. He clearly binged everything, and he knows the game. But I think what I loved about Xander is his soft-spoken nature. He's very calming. he's, you know, when he was explaining it, it's not like he's not aggressive. He's not like an asshole. He doesn't come off as like, yeah, with my six pack now I'm like clearly the strongest guy on yellow. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it for the team. And he's like explaining
Yeah.
everything. People like Evie was giving him so much positive second person visibility. Like Xander's not going anywhere anytime soon. I think, you know, I think there's a strong. I think the women in yellow are all working together.
Let's crank it back a little bit to the challenge. We don't want to get too far ahead because we're gonna get there.
Okay.
Let's pull it back a little bit. And
Okay,
so,
anyway.
where were we at? Sorry, I just don't want to jump the gun because there's so much meat.
Yellow flop. They got held the stupidest tribe in Survivor history, and I think that's it. Like I mean personally, so Flint, Machete, and Pat. I think right. I think if I was in the game, that would be to my benefit because it's gonna drive a lot of people like Frank crazy if they don't have the meager supplies. Whereas I thrive when there's, I'm okay with anything. Like I'm not that person that's like, oh my god, I'm gonna die without food, whatever. You know, like it's. I actually
The food's not rough. I think like day one, I mean, the fire is important, but not having a machete on day one, you can't even build a shelter.
Yeah.
It's Survivor.
Yeah, I love the fact that they are getting
like
hardly nothing.
So
like
we get them arriving at their beaches, and they are faced with this choice of, how did they word it? Oh my gosh.
Savvy or sweat?
Savvy or sweat. And savvy, we're going to have to count the triangles. Everybody gets to participate, but we only get one guess. Or we can go with sweat, where two of y'all have to fill up these big ass barrels with water, but you get 4 hours. And 4 hours is like a crazy amount of time. And I think, you know, the last time we got Survivor, we did see a lot of these physically demanding challenges, like on EOE with them having to get the logs and, you know, moving all the coconuts. And so I think that is kind of like, you know, reminiscent of that. And I am just shocked that they both chose the sweat. So, what do y'all think?
I think that I think the people like Yellow Tribe, the smart people, like that weren't the physical dominant people, I think they were pushing the narrative. Well, Voss knew. He's like, this is the worst idea ever.
But
yeah, Boche, Dr. Death. He's like, this is the worst idea ever. You don't want to be the two people separated from your tribe. We can all work on this together. And then I think Xander's like, yo, we can do this. Looks me and you. I think that's how it went, right? And I'm like, ugh.
So, I mean, my initial reaction was like, okay, if you have no food, like, you don't want your two seemingly strongest people to just deplete their energy reserve on day one. And so I was like, no, this is a really dumb decision. But they both went with it. And what I like about the the blue tribe is they were like, yeah, no, we got this. Like, that shows how physically sure they are of themselves, that it wasn't even a debate. Like, yeah, Danny, Deshawn, go for it. And so seeing the stark contrast, because I think we see it multiple times throughout the episode, of the three tribes and just their mentality. Yeah, so.
Well, let's have my take on this. So yesterday I was kind of yelling at, like, I replied to Rick Devins' tweet. I'm like, triangles, triangle. Like, I spammed 160 characters on Twitter with triangles. I think there are 52. I can't remember. But here's the thing, guys. Like, I was listening to that confessional about Voce, and like they were like, every time you mention they're searching, you have to drink. I think that's a smart move, because if I was in that situation, first of all, I think I can do 4 hours just slugging water. That's guaranteed. You want?
Yeah, it's a guarantee, but it's
fire
bad
machete.
Socially.
Why not? You are the hero when you come out of it.
Yeah.
But you're winning a pot when you don't have to boil your water or cook rice, and the machete that you don't need. So why would you want to separate yourself from the tribe? Because
Yeah.
that puzzle, I will say that puzzle is deceivingly hard.
Yes,
Yeah.
because you
The
have to cut
standard
every
version
triangle
of
in the
that I've
triangle, and the
done.
big triangles and the middle triangles. And
Yeah,
it's
always.
but
Everybody's played this game like on Facebook. I always miss like 33 triangles.
one. Yeah,
So
you missed one
I
triangle
probably
and
would
you-
not have done great at this either.
I've never seen this variation. They
Yeah.
added some extra stuff
Correct.
because
Yeah.
I sat down
Yeah.
and tried to do it, and I got done with the standard part, and then I started to do the extra part, and it really fried my brain. It'd have been
Exactly.
nice having the sand for 4 hours because you could
Yeah.
count things in the sand, draw it in the sand.
If I'm the one if I'm in Voce's spot, and I'm clearly the smartest person in that tribe, it's not in my best interest to be the one steering, because I know I'd be steering that puzzle, counting the triangles. Hey guys, with this triangle, this triangle, this triangle.
No, you see,
It'd
the
be numbered.
way the triangle challenge, the way you approach that as a tribe is everyone does it individually. You write your number down. However many of those numbers are in common, that's what if 3 people
Wow.
have 42 and
Well,
2
then you
people
have to go
41,
back
then-
and you have to count it all together.
Yeah.
But
The
So
thing
got
about-
4
I'm
hours to do
shocked.
that.
That's a huge problem. And
I
I would be
figured-
like, all right, we're not getting it, guys. And that's going to have conflict. I'm going to look like an asshole for being the one that's alphaing that challenge because I know I'm right. And people that, oh, but I got 37. No, I got 38. No, I got 32. But I'm like, I'd go in the confessional and these people are fucking idiots. I know the answer is 39. I know it. It's in my brain. It's 39. You count it. And this person's missing that triangle. And this person's missing that triangle. But I don't want
And that'd be a bomb confessional, Stan. We'd eat that confessional up. I want to know what the viewers think. We got 5 viewers right now. Would you guys do? Would you do triangle or sweating it out, slug in the water? Curious.
do it.
And then,
It's an AMRAP.
so one thing that happened during Blue, we had Danny and who else was running? Deshaun. They had them looking for idols while they were supposed to be collecting water.
yeah. And they got caught by Nasir here. And so this is what we kind of hinted at. I think that Nasir blew it in this scenario. Like Nasir, he goes to, oh, I'm just going to go give a moral support. You lying. Okay. You're not going to give a moral support. You were going to check up on them. Be honest. And so anyways, Nasir goes to check on them and sees them down the beach. I mean, I don't know at what, he said that they're over halfway done or, the time is halfway gone. And so, I mean, if I'm them, I'd be like, I was peeing. Like, you know what I mean? Whatever.
Were
Nasir.
you not allowed to be down there?
Well, I think
like,
they could be.
Well,
They just
see,
couldn't participate.
if it was me and we did go that route, we'd all be chilling on the beach, rooting them on. I'd take a prom frond, like running beside them, fanning them off if I wasn't beast moding up doing the water myself. But
Probably
that
would.
I wouldn't have been off secluded.
Well, I mean, I think
but
that they
you
were
can't
doing
talk to them
things.
or something. I think they just have to stay at camp. That's the stipulation.
Yeah, I think they were getting the shelter area ready. They were working on palm fronds and they were, sweeping and things of that nature, finding
Yeah.
some bamboo to split. So they were doing other work too. It's not like they were just chilling up there for 4 hours.
I think-
But so Nasir sees Danny and Deshaun looking for the idol and he makes the decision of, hey, I said that we were not going to do any strategy, but these two are out looking for an idol. And so he decides to go back and he gets the other 3 people together and is like, guess what they're doing?
Not
And he
good.
tattles. And I think this is a very, very, very big mistake.
And I
Yes.
think that's what I mentioned earlier. Like, I think that's gonna be Nasir's downfall. Is there are social. Still not, CBS is still great with including diversity, but this is where kind of like the social intricacies and the nuances of the social game. 'Cause Survivor at the end of the day is a social game, like kind of come in play. Where Nasir, being that super fan, wants to play super hard, super fast. He's doing it because But I think at some point, keep it to yourself. Like you don't have.
I think you tell maybe one person, go tell Heather, be like, hey, I just want to let you know, I feel really comfortable with you. I know we're not supposed to talk game, but I saw them doing it. And then let Heather go tell the other people. You tell one person, let them do the work.
Yes. You don't want to be that person because, like, if you're willing to tell a whole group of people one thing, they're going to either A, expect you to do it, or they're going to label you as somebody that does that. So I think this was a very, very, very big mistake on this year, and I do think it automatically puts a target on his back. Because, I mean, these are people that you don't hardly have any connection with. You've been with them for literally maybe 2 hours.
Yep.
And, you don't know who's going to click with who once everybody gets together. So I think...
Well, he formed a Final Four.
Yeah, I think we got a mistake here. But we see both tribes easily finish this. They don't even show us the clock, so I don't think it was that close.
Wasn't close.
Everybody gets a flint, pot, and machete, so yay.
Fire tonight. And I love that they didn't just show these two tribes doing the challenge. They also showed us the Green tribe back at camp in their camp life. I love that. And that's where we got her theme song, her evil theme song. I wish I could remember. It was the humming thing. Like,
yes. Okay. So we were, I was getting here. One of the things that I liked about Shan, we can go ahead and talk about her just in general, is, and I wrote this down in my notes, Shan wants to be an active listener. And I wrote that down too. I think this is a term that probably lots of people could take in their everyday life to listen more, talk less. I know that's something I struggle with because I'm a talker, but being an active listener, and you're able to pick up on things that people aren't saying. You're able to learn their nuances, and you can figure out when they're lying, when they're not. And I think her being a pastor, that this is probably a skill she's very, very well honed in on.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, that's when I kind of like, oh my God, she's good, because I employ that on my day. I talk a lot, but actually a really good strength of mine is I know how to actively listen. Like, I know when to just shut up for 15 minutes and let the second person talk, but just by saying, I got it, yes, like I get it. A lot of, in the field that I work in, I have to listen. I don't talk. I listen, make it up, like construe everything in my head, and then come up with my game plan. But being an active listener, builds trust, builds absolute trust with the people, because if you have someone that you are willing to listen to, that is willing to listen to you, and then they're engaged, and by passively listening is different from active listening, because active listening, you're actively being involved with their, but just listening and listening and listening. That goes such a long way, not just in Survivor, but in life. And if anything, anyone's picked up on this episode, and there's a life lesson for anyone who's watched Survivor, and for anyone that's watching this podcast to do good at this game, is to work on your active listening. It's easy to talk. It's hard to actively listen.
Yeah, she does that for pastors. Do that once a week. They're getting up there and they're talking, but the rest of that week, they're listening to people's problems, and they're talking to people at their lowest, when they're most vulnerable. Right. So,
like when my moms are sick and the children are sick, I have to listen to the moms. Active listening. Yeah, I talk a lot, but I have to listen. And I can't just be talking and just guessing what your problems are. You have to tell me.
Yeah.
You have to process it and help you.
Throw ibuprofen at them.
And so we see Shan, really putting this into play as she's having meaningful conversations with everybody. I feel like she's really connecting on a deep level. But she does. The best part of the episode to me is she reveals that, I'm a preacher, but she calls herself a mafia preacher.
Mafia pastor.
A mafia pastor.
That's like Frank.
So,
He's a mafia pastor.
She's going to cut you. And she reveals that she even has an evil soundtrack that she plays in her head. And I love that. And I love that her evil soundtrack is kind of a sweet little noise, because my evil soundtrack probably sounds like the Michael Myers music. I'm going to murder you. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the evil soundtrack that plays for me. So Frank, Stan, if y'all had an evil soundtrack that played in your life, then what would it sound like?
Mine, I kind of do it, is the Jaws, the dun 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 dun. Yeah, that where it keeps picking up. Yeah, that would be mine.
I don't know what my evil soundtrack would be. I don't think I have one, and it's okay to not have one because I'm actually listening to the people that are talking to me.
Yeah,
I'm
mine's Michael
actively listening.
Myers.
I don't have one.
Do. No, that's
No, like I think
Twilight
it's
Zone.
pretty lame. And I remember things that people say like just in passing for conversation, like many months down the line because I'm without a soundtrack. I'm not that evil.
All right, so let's get into the summit. So the boat arrives at the beaches, and we need one person to get on. You're going to come with us, but you'll be coming back. So we see all three tribes kind of take a different approach. Our Yasa tribe, they decide, oh, Xander, he's so sweet. He would never lie. Let's send him.
Bad read, Evie.
Yeah, so, okay, easily decided.
I would
Lulu,
trust Xander.
they're like, hey, I don't want to go. Do you want to go? Danny's like, screw it, I'll do it.
Yeah, and I was like, no, what are you doing?
I was like, no, Danny. I meant to tweet at him and just be like, Danny, what are you doing? Because I just thought he was making himself too big of a target, especially with the idol search earlier. And I was very, very worried about Danny.
Here's the thing about Danny. He's the only buff dude in that blue tribe. It's probably the biggest guy in the game. If I was Danny and I knew that was my position, and it'd be stupid for blue, because if you pack, so here's the thing, if you pack a cast with jocks, with Mr., what's his name, Jesse Goddard's, whatever, throw him like those guys that are super uber muscular, yeah, I'd get rid of like enough guys that are strong right off the bat, but he's the only one. He can break Xander in half, although Xander's like a physically fit dude. And like no one on green, Brad's kind of old. Danny's really the most physically fit guy in the cast. And if I'm gonna play Survivor, I know. So actually, from Rob Sesternino way back when in season 6, one of the lines that he said that really I took to heart when I first watched this in the Philippines back in the day was know where you stand and where they think you stand in the tribe. And where Danny stands in his tribe is he's gonna be that machine. So if he goes into that island or that twist and he can come up with a story and he ended up telling the truth that's believable, that will make him an asset and will put him in a better position in this tribe. I think Danny did a good job of doing that for self-preservation and knowing that he would never go. He will not go home first. Like how do you, Erica's a sweet girl, but she's 5 foot, barely 100 pounds. When you're looking at who to vote for, with their sandbags in the previous challenge, although Erica was really good, she's a really good girl. I wouldn't vote out Danny, and he's not someone, down the line I'd be worried about Danny, but not now. So this is the time to collect extra votes, idols, whatever.
I personally thought the Green Tribe, how they handled it, that's how I'm pushing it that way. If I'm on that sand and people are like, who's going? I'm like,
let's draw a rock.
Stick.
Yeah, how I would do it? Yeah. I would let someone else make the decision.
So,
But if you let that happen, then Evie makes the decision and sends Xander. Like, I don't want to be Evie.
So, Ua decides they're going to draw rocks, and JD gets the white rock. I'm a little bit worried once again for JD. I was like, oh no, JD, oh no, Danny. Like, I don't like this decision for y'all because they both had kind of had a little bit of shade thrown onto them. And so I worried about this for these two individuals. So when they get to the summit, climb to the top, get to know each other, we get them conversing, and as they're coming down, they realize, okay, we're going to have to separate and make a choice. And immediately Danny clocks it and is like, hey, this is going to be some type of an advantage. Like, I'm sure that they discussed that they would all kind of have the same story going back, and they go their separate ways. And they are stuck with the choice of protect your vote or risk your vote. If they protect their vote and all three of them protect it, then nothing changes. Everybody gets to keep their vote. If all three decide to risk their vote, then they could win an advantage. But if all three of them decide to do it, then they all lose their vote. But if it's a split decision, the people that protected their vote get to keep it. The people that risk it are going to get an extra vote advantage. So you're at the helm of the captain ship. Which way are you turning?
I think it depends on who I'm there with. If I'm there with Danny, I'm banking that Danny protects his vote. Because I'm banking that Danny's in. I feel like someone's in a core 4 on their 6, then I'm banking that they're protecting their vote, and that would push me to risk it. Not for right then, because I feel like I'd be in a core 4, but for later in the game. Like Xander said, in a tribe swap, I was impressed with that delivery as well.
So I think this is Xander's, like, I think this is where, first of all,
what would you do?
I was gonna actually bring it up, and I was gonna get 3 of us to do it at some point. But this is where, like,
well, I just did it.
Wait, what did you say you would risk?
I said I'd risk it if I was with somebody that I felt was in a core line.
I'm obviously gonna protect my vote, and I was gonna tell exactly how Danny played. And if you guys know me, that's how I'd play day 1. No, I'd be Danny. I am Danny.
We messed up. We should have wrote down on a paper.
That's what I wanted to do.
You should have brought that up before. That would have been great.
Missed opportunity. I'm sure that we might get this chance again because it sounds like this might be, this may be kind of like the theme.
I did write down protect my vote. Like, I wasn't gonna do it because I know if Frank knew that I was probably gonna protect my vote, he's probably gonna risk his vote because he wants an extra vote. I don't know what it wouldn't have, like, you would have gotten extra votes. You knew that.
There's a 100% chance I would have risked my vote because, like, I'm a greedy bitch. I'm risking it, and I am going for the advantage.
If you guys knew me well, you'd know I'd protect my vote. So both of you guys, exactly what Danny did was, like, I'm protecting my vote, and the 2 of you guys, good luck with your extra vote. But here's the thing: I think what happened in the mountains, and you have to read between the lines. There's a strong male alliance that's formed in that mountain. Hot take, that if you walk up a mountain when you go hiking with 3 people you've never met before, you're gonna bond inevitably. And we're the 3 strongest dudes. We kind of have to work together, guys. And in that moment in time, I think, Xander and JD are young. They're 20. They figure out they'll run the risk. And Danny has a lot more life experience, and he's like, listen, if my boys get an extra vote and they risk their vote, if we all 3 of us risk it, we lose. But if I protect my vote, I still get a vote, but my boys get an extra vote. And what does that tell? This is what I'm thinking. Like, if Franklin was in that position, he risked his vote and I protected mine, and you risked your vote and you got yours, Kiley, what would happen? What was that thought when JD was like, oh my God, I actually got...
My thought is I go back to my tribe and I tell them, we have this choice to make, and you know what? Like, I decided to take the proactive approach, and I lost my vote.
But then that puts a target on your back.
Well, but I'm gonna tell them, like, I lost a vote, but I made them lose their vote too. Worst case scenario, if you're not gonna have a vote, be like, I sabotaged them too.
No,
I offered my vote at a shot for rice and failed.
But then that's gonna get back to you, though.
Yeah.
That's gonna get.
I
think on moment 1 on a twist that you can lie in Survivor about the thing that only you know. But unless you're final 2 with someone who you trust with your life, then you can lie together. But in something like that, who's beyond your control about what other people are gonna do, I would go and call me boring, but that's how you fundamentally play Survivor. Is you tell what it is on day 1, don't put a target on your back. And so the funny thing is, when JD said whatever he said, he's like, oh, I protected my vote, and Ricard was like, he's bull crapping. And then
it was his whole delivery, the way he sat down, the details he was delivering were not the details you want.
Let's back it up 1 second. Let's back it up 1 second before we get to them delivering it to their tribe, because by far the quote of the episode is made
Who said
here.
it? JD or Xander?
The best decisions in the history of mankind have been inevitably decided by eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Stupid quote.
JD.
Quote. Not true. That's
JD.
That's when JD lost a lot of respect.
Baby. This is why I've had to back off the stand-up train, because this is the type of thing 20-year-olds do. 20-year-olds make life decisions by eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Adults and all people in history, that's not how things are decided.
So
Oh.
George Washington's just gonna flip. Oh, we're gonna take your time today. Flip a coin. Flip it to heads.
Boston
We're
Tea
taking your
Party. Should
no.
we throw the tea into the harbor or should we leave it on the boat? Eeny, meeny, miny, moe. Just, I can't,
Come on,
y'all.
JD. You need to grow up a little bit, boy.
That one killed me. So,
Oh,
okay, yes, going
stupid.
back, we
Thank
get
God it
Danny's
didn't come
story
from
first.
Xander. Still on the Xander train.
What'd you say, Kylie?
I said, going back to the tribes, Danny tells the truth. He comes across extremely believable, and Heather's like, yeah, I believe him. Like, he had so many details. He doesn't stumble over his story. Everybody agrees with it. Then we get Xander, and Xander is like, I did this for us, y'all. I may have got an extra vote, and we'll use it whenever we get to we.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's 2 ways to go about it, maybe 3 ways, but those 2 were good ways. And then we get JD, and from the get-go, JD's like, all right, picture it. I get on the speedboat. My hair's blowing in the wind.
There's 2 people with nicer hair than me.
Their hair's blowing in the wind even better. And I'm like, oh no, stop. Back it up, JD. And he, tells a story of we were going up this big mountain. I was leading the way. And yeah, there was this decision we had to make. It's really not a big deal. We're just going to skim over this part. And Ricard clocks him like, yeah, no, I don't believe you. You're definitely lying.
He's lying, and he was. It turned out he was.
Yeah, he was nervous and awkward. The normal charisma he has when he's just talking to you, it kind of just went out the door, and it was like nervous, awkward energy.
Yeah. So not coming off super believable. This makes me even more worried for JD. I didn't even think he was going to get through the night. So we go to the immunity challenge.
But then, actually, someone did mention yesterday at the viewing party. Hannah Fleming, if you're watching, hello, or if you're watching in the future, she was like, JD's not going home. We are so invested in JD now. Like, there are just so much. He's a track star. He's like this. He's 20. He's like made fire, and he's so enthusiastic in Survivor. Made a couple of dumb decisions. Made the horrible quote of the day, lied, almost got the boot. But I think Survivor wants to, and I have a take on JD at Tribal Council at the end that we probably didn't see, which is a read between the lines thing. But people want us to invest in JD, and he's a character. He's a foil. He's that court jester. He's the court jester of the season in more ways than one.
Yeah, so JD is a character, like point blank, and the period. He's interesting. He's a good storyteller. I'm glad to keep him around for a few episodes, but I just can't fully just throw all of my support behind him. He's entertaining, but like I said, here for a good time, probably not a long time. And he may be here for a long time even, but it's going to be chaotic. So we'll see. All right. So going into the immunity challenge, we've seen this one before. It's set up. Got to get your sandbags into the little cart, pull it along the trail, move the sandbags, the whole shebang.
Before they start that challenge, though, Jeff reveals another element to the game that we've never seen before. Shot in the dark.
I completely missed that.
Yeah, that was... What do you guys think of this twist? I'm personally a fan. I don't think it plays that much of a role in the early stage of the game. Where I see this being huge is if we get to merge and we're down in numbers, and everyone in the minority tribe is just like, let's all risk it, throw it in. We got this one hidden immunity idol that our odds are this much better that they vote the wrong person out. I think that's how this twist can really impact the game in a positive way, and where the odds are more in your favor.
I am not a huge fan of it. I'm just not a huge fan of it in general. Okay, so everybody gets a die, and you get to play one time, presumably. And Jeff doesn't say when. Like, okay, is this when does this expire? I don't feel like it was very well explained.
Oh yeah, I never thought about
Yeah,
deep.
he does. He doesn't
Deep in
explain
it.
when. Hey, final five. Let me drop my die in.
Well, if you have
Or
a 1 in
maybe
6
it
shot, maybe it's
stops
a
at
final 6.
exactly. So if it gets to the 6, well, I mean, if you've held onto your die, then you're definitely going to pull a parchment. There's a lot here that I don't like. If somebody gets the safety, is it like over? Is this twist over, or do they get to keep the die and it's reset every time? And that there's always a 1 in 6 chance. There's a lot that wasn't explained, and so I'm not necessarily loving it.
I'm not. I think I'm in the middle. Of course, I always play the middle. The middle is the best place to go. I would. I don't care. Put it on. Play the game. But here's the thing: if it benefits me and it benefits my allies, and I'm on the chopping, and I got swap fucked, like exactly what Frank says, like it'll benefit me. I don't really love how it's 16.7777. No, it's 16.66666666 dash percent chance of getting. It's 1 in 6.
I think
But
it allows any individual out there to not completely feel utterly defeated, because even if the writing's on the wall and you got in 24 hours you're going to tribal council and everyone's going to write your name and nothing that you do
it's gonna
matters,
change it.
you can just
You
enjoy your
got a
time on
Hail
the
Mary.
island. I got a shot. Might be able to be like, fuck all you guys. I'm still
Exactly,
here. So I'm going to
exactly.
enjoy my time a little bit more because I know that that's
the
there,
hope.
even if it doesn't impact it. Hope. Exactly.
Hope. And I think it's in what you said, Kylie, it's not well explained. I don't think it's going to play a big factor in this game. Absolutely not. However, I think it gives a little spin on the game that's not major. It's minor, but it could potentially do a couple of votes. In Australian Survivor, I don't know. Do you guys? I don't know how y'all do it, but
Not
like,
the current season. I haven't seen the current
Oh.
season.
but this was like in the end game. There was something very similar to this, in which you had to break an urn. I'm not going to say who, but like
Yeah.
there was like 5 urns there, and one of them is safe. So when you're voted out, you grab an urn, you smash it, and if you unroll the scroll, it says safe, you're safe. And then tribal council's null and void. Like, whether or not it works for anyone, like that was a part of the game that I didn't absolutely love. But if I was in the game getting voted out, and I'm gonna bank on that.
Sure, yeah. If you're in the
Scroll to
game, you're
save my
definitely
ass.
gonna like
So
that.
yeah, like I mean, I think I'm all about like the evolution of the game, and like I'm not hard set on it being classic Survivor because it isn't anymore. And if you want to be, and over the years, over the games I've played, I've learned I have to, although I do have a solid strategy in mind, I think what's important in your longevity in the game is to adapt.
Yeah. And it's better than fire tokens, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Can we agree on that?
Yeah. Fire tokens
Yeah.
suck. Who cares if they come back? We can talk more about the die of destiny or whatever.
The shot in the dark.
Throw it in some Big Brother there. I think that they could have come up with a better name, like. So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah, and
That's
then
what I
also,
personally would have liked it called.
yeah, I think the naming could have been better. Shot in the Dark sounds really familiar. Was that anything on like another show like Big Brother or something? It sounds really familiar.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. It's not ringing any bells. For
Maybe it's
me.
a song.
Whatever.
A lot of
It's
stuff
shot-
bouncing
it's shot to the
around somewhere.
heart. And you give love a bad name, Bon Jovi.
But yeah, so everyone gets our dice. Jeff did have a bad toss. He had one bad toss to the green tribe. JD couldn't catch it. And we probably
Again,
won't talk.
JD
I don't think we should
JD's
talk about
fault.
this a lot, but I do want to bring this up is that because the internet's kind of blowing up right now. This is a hot topic. Is that we're no longer going to hear Jeff say, "Come on in, guys." You're just going to say, "Come on in." And at the beginning of the episode, they touched on it, and then Ricard brought it back up. I'm personally, it's not going to affect me. I really want the fans to just like be happy. Survivor's back on. It's verbiage. At the end of the day, it's not that important, and next year we're going to completely forget about it.
Yeah, I mean, like there's a lot of things to get your panties in a wad about. Like this isn't going to do it for me. Do I like the, kind of the sanctimony of it? Like, we've heard Jeff say this for 40 seasons. So, like from that aspect of it, like, yeah, I like him to say, come on in, guys. I like him to say the tribe has spoken. And I mean, you can get into a whole array of things. Like if you want to go down that path, and I think that's where some people are worried is it can be a slippery slope. And it can be like that with anybody because, maybe next season we get a person on that's extremely religious. And hey, I don't think that we should call these idols because I have no other, like I'm not going to worship something that's not God. Like, okay, well, we need to change that. And I think that's where some people worry. And, there's lots of other stuff like calling them tribes. Like, there's such a whole gamut that you can open up. And I think that that's where some people are like, okay, we take this step of, okay, we're getting rid of this term. What's the next thing that's going to happen?
Yeah, you're right. I mean,
for me personally, like, I'm not going to stop watching over come on in, guys. Like, it's 4 words to me. So I don't care that much. Just offering kind of a different take on it a little bit. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with the two of you guys. Oops, did I just say that? But Freudian slip. I mean, there are so many more things in this world that we have to worry about. And it is 2021, and we should care about this, and we should care about people. We should care about other people's attitudes, other this cancel culture and people being mean online, other people that are human beings. There's so many more things in life that we need to take care of. There's a raging pandemic that, and I understand the social, importance of the masculinity associated with guys, and I'm guilty. Like I think 99% of my clinic visits, like, hey guys, what's up?
Yeah, I think my point is,
hey doc, what's going on? And I'm like, but like that's mom, dad, brother, sister. I just
with all the change happening, my thing is like we got a lot of change happening, and when change happens, I feel like people fear what they're going to lose more than think about what they're going to gain. And I think when we get the more diverse and inclusive we get, I think the better the show is going to be, the better the experience is going to be. I think you're right, Kiley. I think they should have just stopped saying it. I think they paid a lot of attention to it.
Stop saying it.
And they probably shouldn't have done that, but I do think...
You don't have to showcase your wokeness. Like, if it's something that means something to you, like, okay, Jeff, if you really felt like, hey, I didn't want to say this anymore, well, you're the executive producer, pull the trigger on it, and don't fucking say it. Like... Yeah. That would have been okay for everybody. Everybody been like, hey, did y'all notice that Jeff didn't say that? But you would have kind of, lost, you took the PC route and you could have just done it and no explanation, got rid of it.
Right. Yeah, I think the producers are just a bunch of white straight males, and they're probably terrified right now because they might not have made the best decisions as far as casting and inclusion and diversity. So now they're like
the whole Dan Spillo incident,
exactly. So they're on
they're kind of like tiptoeing,
I mean, like,
we're on shallow.
Let's just play some fucking Survivor, guys. Yeah.
Robert, I agree with Robert. Robert says he should just say, "Hurry up, motherfuckers."
No, he says "father muckers." This is a family show, so.
Is it?
But I don't know. Like, it's funny because like every single time I say that, and I don't know if I'm gonna. It's a habit, and I don't think anyone said, "Hey, Dr. Stan, you shouldn't say guys when you walk into our clinic." They're more than happy to see me. I'm more like, "Oh my God, you came in to say hi to us. Oh my God, we miss you. We haven't seen you in 3 months." Like, "Hey guys, how's it going?"
Yeah,
I think I'm more happy that Survivor's back.
And I think that the majority of people do want to be kind to everyone. Like, there are some toxic people out there from all walks of life, all spectrums of the political world that are bad, okay? But I think that the majority of people just want to be kind. They want to, kind of the golden rule. They want to treat others how they want to be treated. I don't think a lot of people intentionally set out to offend somebody.
Correct.
And so I think just keeping that in mind, being kind to each other, it's a lesson we can probably all take.
One thing that I wanted to point out, and I actually wrote it here, because the only thing I read about Evie's profile, she's like, "What's your biggest pet peeve is man?" And then number 2 was like she broke up with someone or something because it's
they mispronounced Bangladesh
or something like that. I don't know the details.
Budapest.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Budapest. And then Jeff looks to her and she's like, "Evie, what do you think about guys?" And she goes, "I'm okay with it, actually. It's culture and it's, I don't know."
Yeah, but if Jeff said, "Hey, Stan, you all right putting on a diaper and running around the island?" I'm going to be like, yeah, sure. Yeah, Jeff Probst told me to. I'll do whatever you want, bro.
Jeff Probst, I'm sure I'll do it.
You can call me whatever you want. My last name, my first name.
For casting me. But I don't know what their spin on that. That was a little weird. I'm an Evie fan. I like Evie's position in this game.
Yeah.
Grew on me a lot.
Episode, and I love natural selection. For anyone that's kind of spoke to me about other issues in the world, I strongly believe in natural selection. And when she brought up, a PhD in Harvard, and I'm all about natural selection, I studied. I'm like, wow. Like, she grew on me, and I can tell up there, but I don't want to sound too.
Sorry to detour us, Kiley. But
so, in the words of Robert Allen, let's hurry up, Father Muckers, and let's talk about this challenge. So, kind of hit on it. I don't think there's a lot. Everybody watched it. You don't need us to explain it to you.
No.
Done. So the blue tribe, Luvu, they fall behind quickly. Kind of that lack of attention to details like they had with not unclipping their little boat. And so they're fighting from behind, and they manage to get up there basically at the same time as the other 2 tribes. And it's coming down to the needy greedy, in the words of RealiTEA. And they are all 3 neck and neck competing for this. And Jeff tells us at the beginning only one tribe is going to get immunity, and I think that's a really, really interesting twist there. I love that, because typically you see, hey, you ain't got to be first, but you can't be last.
Yeah. And
this time it's like, oh no, you got to be first, because 2 tribes are going to immunity or going to tribal council. So what do y'all think?
I like the challenge. It was super physical. When you're not eating the rice and those extra carbs, like, that box looks super heavy. I was actually terrified at a certain point because Sydney, I think it was, one of the smaller females was like underneath the box, and then I'm like, they better hope they don't let go of that rope, or you're dead.
Yeah, but it's very, very.
As with a lot of challenges on Survivor, you guys have to put it in perspective. It's won and lost by the puzzle. Blue tribe, you know what they did correctly that the other tribes didn't? Notice it on your rewatch. What?
They finished.
No.
Well, they were calm. That's one thing I noticed.
You know what they did? And if you watched again, another tip, guys, when you're doing a puzzle, the base is flat. The base is flat. So what Blue did, what Erica did, was they fixed the 41, because those are letters, that's easy. But every flat piece, they knew what was in the bottom. So the green tribe and yellow tribe didn't do that, but Blue formed the base. And when you form the base, every piece that you think might fit the base, you'd have more options to fit it in. So if you notice on the rewatch, Blue pulled ahead because they had the base. For everyone,
kind of the same concept of doing a regular jigsaw puzzle. Like, that's why most people make the edge first, and you don't start in the middle.
Correct. I don't know why the other 2 tribes didn't think of that. That's clear when you have 6, 7 pieces that have a flat. It goes on the bottom. Come on,
you
guys.
could see the green tribe was in the lead, and you heard Jeff. Jeff is great at hosting these challenges, because I think he was actively getting in their head when he was like, "Oh, the blue tribe's coming back from behind. Oh, the blue tribe's full. They're caught up in the puzzle." Yeah, they start like panicking and like putting things upside down, and I'm like, they're falling apart. And then they lost that puzzle piece, and it was it for them. Yellow
Yeah.
Tribe's just a tribe.
Yeah, once again, we're not even going to focus on the Yellow Tribe. They're not even here, y'all. They're going to tribal council, okay? This tribe is the worst tribe ever.
When your buff is on sale before the season premiere, you're going to tribal on night 1.
It's just going to be the third tribe that's going to be dissolved, and blue and green are still going to be there for when yellow disappears. Let's go yellow. I have to stand my boy Vochi, but we'll get there.
All right. So, yes, we see the Lubu tribe pull out the victory from behind. They are not going to tribal council. That's going to wrap up their story for this episode. I feel like kind of the standout from that tribe for me was Danny. We've seen a lot of professional athletes. I feel like Danny may be kind of the best of the best that we've gotten so far. He's coming with strategy. He's playing hard. He's a fan. I'm excited to see what he's going to do. Go Tigers. Go Cowboys. Okay. Then we are going to go back first to the camp with Ua. And this is where we're going to get a lot of chaos. And
no, it was Yase first.
Okay, Yasa first. All right. So, yeah, at Yasa, it's a little more straightforward. And Abraham's like, this is the first time we're even talking about him.
I know.
We don't get a lot of background on him. So I kind of didn't think that this was going to be his boot. I was worried about Tiffany. He throws Tiffany's name out in the beginning when they're building shelter. And immediately he's like, we got to keep the tribe strong. There's only 6 of us. Tiffany's got to go.
Yeah.
And, we got to keep them strong. And this is where Evie really stands out to me because
I have her here.
Evie is walking and she's having these one-on-one conversations, not what Nasir did, but Evie decides to have one-on-one conversations of like, ooh. First, we get the confessional where she's like, okay, he's talking about keeping the tribe strong, and historically, keeping the tribe strong means getting rid of women. So if we get rid of Tiffany this time, well, there's little kind of scrawny Evie, or there's like tall drink of water Liana. I mean, Evie can see like, okay, if this is the path we're taking, this could be a bit of an issue for me. So, I'm going to have to flip the script. And she does not do it aggressively. She does it very subtly of like, hey, I'll go along with everybody, but Abraham, he's smart and he knows this game, and just dropping in little things and really exercising her social capital.
Yeah, she was doing a really good job of framing someone to be much more than I was seeing.
Yeah.
One person on yellow that really stood out to me, and sorry I say colors because I'm bad with names, so the tribe names are going to be really hard. Maybe by the end of the season I'll be referring to them as their tribe name, but David, I was expecting him to try and direct a vote, but no, he sat back, he was chill, he let Evie do it, because if he would have tried to push the narrative that round,
It would be him.
Yeah, it would have been him on the burner. If Evie was not the person going home, she would have definitely been coming at him because she doesn't like the mansplainers and the egotistical guys. Yeah,
Stan, this is your moment. Tell us why you are loving Voce.
If there's somebody on Survivor that works in the same field that you work in, and you're such a fan of the game, you have to stand that person no matter what. I got 2 people I'm rooting for on Yasa. It's Voce and Xander. And I think because of that, and you notice that I wrote it down here, Xander and Voce bonded. Number one, they both went to the University of Chicago.
Okay.
So Voce did medical school in Chicago, and then he's doing his neurosurgery training in Vanderbilt, in Nashville. And homeboy Xander is a college student at the University of Chicago. And I actually texted Jack early in the season, like, yo, I was just doing Voce at UFC, and so Xander, that's an automatic alliance there. I don't think that they made it very obvious, but it was clear that Voce and Xander were kind of on the same page. They're both the physical guys, I think.
And Evie and Liana
Evie and
They're kind of
Liana
a duo.
formed that true
And
alliance too. So here's the thing about Voce. This is my take on Voce, and I just want like 1 minute. Everyone, he has such a bad rap preseason. There's T-shirts which I'm getting, the Doctor Death T-shirts. Like he comes off as smug. He's like in his preseason interviews, he got asked to say neurosurgeon multiple times. I heard by the producers, like, I'm a neurosurgeon. We didn't want that narrative, but have to have that story. But I think I think he's someone that could potentially go down in a blaze of glory very early or deep because they haven't really had a story yet. But he was kind of an asshole at the start with the whole Savvy versus Sweat, but then he kind of slid into the like almost anonymity at tribal council. Like him and Xander kind of slid in. Xander's name was never come. I don't think Xander's name will come up like until like the Joe Anglin time, like the tie where Joe is going to be targeted, which is mid merge. But like Voce is someone who I was nervous. Like I remember walking out of my house with the 10 people that went to the viewing party with me, right? And I was like, I'm praying to the Macedonian Jesus that Voce is not first boot, and I'm rooting for my guy all the way through. I got my medicine, hoodie, sweater on, the yellow buff. I'm Team Voce all the way. Let's go, baby.
so the thing that I was most shocked with happening on the Yasa tribe is that preseason we were like, okay, Evie, who doesn't like kind of the douchebag male role, and Voce, who wants to embrace it. They're going to butt heads. But we see the opposite, and Evie is like he's someone I can work with, and that is really, really shocking to me. And so I don't hate his position in his tribe.
And I think that there has to be something said about, we deal with a diverse group of people every day in our daily lives. It's 2021, gone under the stereotypes that a neurosurgeon has to be an asshole, or like LGBT woman with the short hair has to be a man-hater. Like maybe it's time that because they're people and that everyone has to, it's 2021, maybe they can work together. I'm really rooting for, as much as I would want a Voce Xander like deep in the game type thing. I think I want like an Evie Voce like alliance that could do a lot of damage because no one would think they'd work together.
I just don't want to lose Voce because then we lose the drinking game.
I know.
And that's every time he says, I'm a neurosurgeon, you have to take a drink.
But the funny thing is
if you do that during the podcast, every time Stan says I'm a doctor, you're going to be hammered too. I
haven't said I'm a doctor. Well said. I don't even put it in my name anymore. It makes my threat level bigger.
All right. So we get two names thrown out on the Yasa tribe, Abraham and Tiffany. Tiffany's like, what the hell? Like, why is he saying my name? I think I am going to go look for an advantage. And this is where, we get that, ooh, remember when Jeff dropped in this little advantage? Okay, whatever. But yeah, Tiffany, like literally, if it was a snake, it would have bit her. She was right there.
So close.
She looked past it and she doesn't find it. I don't have a lot else to say about them. We can go ahead and cover their tribal council and get it out of the way.
I think one more thing about Tiffany in her intro, which is I wrote down foreshadowing in my notes. She said, I'm a pre-vivor. I want to be the survivor. And that was her first confessional after she talked about the BRCA gene and the double mastectomy and one of the first people in America to do it. She slid there after that alternate thing. I'm getting again another hot take, like Nick Wilson vibes. How Nick was supposed to be the first boot of the David tribe, but then Pat had that backing accident on the boat, and Nick just kind of took it and ran. That's if maybe I'm reading into the episodes too much, but I do edgic for fun. And there's foreshadowing. I highlighted it, question mark and Tiff. And something to watch. Just gonna place it out there.
I think if she can make it in the early stage of this game, she could go really deep.
Previews of episode 2 is a big puzzle, and the Dr. Death is on the puzzle. they put the right person in the puzzle. So I don't think Yellow's going home next.
Will he be able to see the puzzle? Because I've noticed the only time I saw his eyes were at tribal
If
council.
he was Asian, you'd be racist, Frank.
No, he squints the whole time, and they need to get him some shades, man. That sun is too intense for him.
That's the least of your concerns.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Watch him
So
crush
let's
the
go.
puzzle.
Let's go to their tribal council. Is there anything of note here from Jeff's questions for y'all?
No, it was.
Yeah, it was-
I
it
mean,
was
in
pretty
contrast with the next
straightforward.
one, it's
Right. It was pretty straightforward. Obviously, we had 5 people on the same page, and Abraham is blindsided. We don't get a lot of his backstory. We don't get much from him. So.
I do want to bring up before we move on is the fact that they did blindside him effectively. The shot in the dark is going to make blindsides way more important.
Yes.
You have to be good at the blindside, master that, so there's no chance of the
that's
dice
a really
coming in
good
blood.
point. All right, so let's move on to the Ua tribe back at their camp, and there's lots of names being thrown around. Like Ricard, he's got his sights set on JD, but Brad, what you thinking? Well,
I think we should vote out Kiley.
I think that, and Brad he throws out Sarah, Chantelle, y'all did the puzzle and you screwed up, so it's probably going to be one of y'all. And Sarah's like, is this Survivor from 2000? Like, I cannot believe that he just said our name whenever we're standing here. But okay, so like Brad is on board with what's happening, and Brad goes and talks with JD and it's like, yeah, they're saying your name, Sarah is. And so, like maybe Brad did have a little bit to do with the direction of this vote.
100%, because what Ricard was trying to set up, and I agreed with his move, was Chantelle, Brad, Sarah. Core 4, strong 4. You take out JD, you take out Jeannie, you move on, you have cushion, you're set. Brad 100% controlled the direction of the vote.
Which might
I don't think it was smart.
I don't know if he controlled it, but
he pushed it in a direction.
Brad did not control bull crap.
He didn't control it, but he was involved.
He was involved, but his name, so Chantelle, Shan, and JD, I think, and I'm going to get to my point, I think Shan and JD are working together closely than we are shown on TV.
Yeah. So I am interested in this group. So, okay, first let's get into
You guys
Chantelle.
are gonna hate on Jeannie.
Before we get there, before we get to their tribal, let's talk about Shan. This is just another glowing moment for her. Stan, you hinted at it earlier, where she gives the confessional of like, I'm on the bottom because of the puzzle. I feel like I'm at the top because of my social game, and I'm in the middle because I'm kind of deciding which way the vote is going to go. And if it goes in the direction I want, like, I think this speaks a lot for my position on this tribe. And I'm just winner. Like, I'm getting like big alerts from her.
Big winner vibe.
This is our future winner. So, okay. Let's just go into their tribal council because there's a lot to break down here.
Yep.
We do have another show at 8 o'clock, so we have to, kind of get through this a little bit. So at their tribal council, it becomes a live tribal. And
well, JD's talking, and then you had Sarah, Chantelle, and Ricard talking, and then just like, does that make you uncomfortable? He's like, do we want to just make this he kind of got a little sassy there. He's like, let's just make this a live tribal if that's what we're going to do.
Let's do it.
I think that's the core 3 at that tribe. Ricard, Chantelle, and I think JD might be in that. No.
I disagree. I think Ricard is on the outs here. So looking at the
agree.
Yes.
I think after this, based on the
breakdown of the votes, you get Ricard voting for Brad. You get
no, Sarah voted for Brad.
Yeah. I thought Sarah voted for Brad.
Okay.
Sarah voted for Brad.
Know in the comments?
Voted for Ricard, and 4 of them voted for Sarah.
Jeannie voted for Ricard.
Sarah, voted for Brad. It's 4-1-1.
Sarah voted for Brad, and the other 4 voted together. Okay, so I think Ricard is on the out a little bit of those 4 because his name was written down. And I would like to know why Jeannie decided to write down Ricard's name. And here's my thought, is if they had all voted together and blindsided Sarah, and Sarah had played her shot in the dark, she would have been safe, and whoever she voted for would have left. And so Jeannie, with the other, Jeannie, JD, and Brad, those are the core 3. They decided to throw a vote on to Ricard so that it would go to Rocks. Or, I mean, a revote.
A revote.
Brad
honestly,
and JD are not working together. JD was pitching Brad at the live tribal.
No,
he was trying to get
pitching it.
No, he was.
JD whispered to Shan, I don't think it's in the best interest at this time to get Brad out.
I thought that was Shan that said that.
No.
It's not the best interest.
JD said...
I gotta rewatch it now.
JD and Brad are an unlikely duo.
Brad are working, and I think they have Jeannie. I agree with Kiley, because when Shan, Sarah, and Ricard were supposed to just put Brad and Ricard went over to JD and said, put Brad, and Brad said, and JD said yes, and then Shan and JD walked in the back, and Sarah was like, can I give you guys time and space? And they're like, yes.
No, don't give anybody time and space. Girl, your name's been thrown out.
Girl, don't do that. Step in the conversation. And then make that decision there. But then that's her fatal flaw. She let them get them time to make a decision to vote her out. Because if she was there, they would have voted for Brad. But in this time, JD whispered in Shan's ear, I don't think it's the right time for Brad to go home. And that, between the lines, it's not what they show on TV, it's between the lines. If you're protecting someone at the bottom of the 9th, there's a reason to do that. Either you're working together closely, or you want to keep the men strong, or you want to keep the tribe strong by virtue of that, or that means you're still working together, you still want to protect someone. There's a reason why JD said that to Shan, and then they all just ended up voting Sarah. And I agree with Kiley, but Jeannie, well, she's my girl, so I'm going to make her... She's not dumb.
I think she threw that vote on Ricard so that whoever Sarah voted for would not, if she played her die, and
I would have done the same thing.
Through the safety, that it would not be a 5 votes voided, whoever Sarah voted for. They threw a vote onto Ricard. Ricard was obviously not part of that plan, and it would have come down to a revote between whoever Sarah voted and whoever Ricard voted.
Yeah,
I think that,
I
Ricard
think
would have been in
you're
trouble here.
overthinking it. I think it was a lot of first tribal jitters and not having a fucking game plan going in.
And I think next episode will uncover a little bit more of the dynamic for that tribe.
Yeah.
Now that literally every single person on the tribe has been salient, with the exception, I think, strategically, Jeannie. And I think because Brad has been exposed, JD's been exposed, Ricard's been exposed, Shan's been exposed, but she's more of a puppeteer. Sarah's been kind of exposed.
She's gone.
She's gone. And then Jeannie's the only one that kind of just said yes, yes. No one knows why she voted Ricard. She was super quiet. She's like, what's going on back there? But she was never the one that was going to get voted for when she was the older woman. And I actually was watching Jeannie in the challenge, and she was hauling ass. She was pulling those sandbags, throwing it, like pushing it, and
This might just be wishful thinking, but my opinion is that we're gonna see Ricard, Chantelle, and Brad link up as a trio. I think JD will probably come in that 4, and I think Jeannie's gonna be the odd man out. That's wishful thinking probably, but I think Ricard and Sean are probably gonna be the tightest on that tribe when it's all said and done.
We'll see what happens. Hopefully we
it's
get
probably
a
just
little
my
bit
fantasy thing talking.
Hopefully we get a little bit of insight into why they decided to, vote how they did. And, maybe at the end of the season we get an opportunity to talk with some of these people. And this could be, something that we say for Jeannie if we get the opportunity to talk with her. So I think that pretty much, we say goodbye to Sarah here. Not a huge shock, as she was one of the names that was thrown out. And that's going to kind of wrap up the first episode. I thought it was, it was interesting. It had me on the edge of my seat because you didn't know what was going to happen. 3 names written down in that tribal council, and I think it's going to be fun going back to the beach and seeing the fallout. So do y'all have anything else to say in general about the episode?
No, you guys just blew my mind because this whole time I thought that, because I was reading the subtitles because I couldn't hear really well, and I could have sworn that I thought it was that Chantelle was telling
No.
JD Brad's not the time. So I was like,
he's telling Sarah.
And
Shit.
you know, Brad
I have
almost
to
pulls the
reevaluate my
Keith.
life.
Brad almost pulls the Keith now there, and he's like, "Stick to the plan. Stick to the plan, JD." And JD's like, "Okay."
That makes more sense now.
I'm with you.
That makes way more sense.
Yeah.
But
So
JD didn't.
it's going to be interesting. We'll see what happens. We are going to quickly do some awards and give our thoughts for, you know, how we see this season playing out.
Did you
So-
guys write it down? Yours
Yeah.
down?
No, I don't write
No.
things down.
Yeah, we
So,
don't write.
Frank, what is our first category that we're giving an award for?
The first award, we're going to do 3 on the challenge. I think we're doing 4 or 5, but we're going to go with 3. Top of the food chain. So who do you think is running the game for the most part that we've seen on the premiere episode? Puppet Man.
Come on, Shan. Come on,
Shan.
Shan.
For sure, Shan.
Unanimous. I think we all agree there. I think that she will probably stay at the top of the food chain until we
baby
see
Abby.
a mix-up.
Little
Yeah.
Abby's over here. She's
Abby-
pulling
yeah.
some too.
Yeah.
She gets my honorable mention. Okay.
Yeah.
Next award.
Dark Horse Award.
Dark Horse. Okay. I need to think about it for a second.
I have mine.
Okay, let's hear it.
Erica.
That's what I was gonna say too.
I
We
like
didn't
that.
get a lot from her.
She didn't let a lot, but her opening confessional, she's like, out of 10, I feel a million. This got an opportunity, got robbed from me before, it's got taken away, and we're here. This happens once, and it gave me shivers. You know, Erica is one of us. She's Filipino, so she's rocking the flag of the Philippines, and I'm rooting for her all the way. And I think she's going to go deep. She's 5 foot tall.
Yeah, I really like Erica preseason, and I am rooting for her. I might give my dark horse to Tiffany. You know, I feel like we did get so much of her story, and it is compelling. It draws you in. She's my little bit of a dark horse. I see a path for her. So,
And then our last award, Entertainment Gold. Who did you find the most entertaining?
I mean, once again, it's got to be unanimous. It's JD.
I think for me, it's a mix-up between. I think JD was entertaining because he was kind of a train wreck.
Yeah.
But I think Chantelle and Ricard are like got that villain vibe that we have been missing in recent seasons. So I think that's my brand of entertainment. You're gonna have a different taste in entertainment. Stan's gonna have a different taste.
Yeah.
All the fans are gonna have different tastes. I love villains, so I'm loving that Ricard and Chantelle villainous vibes.
I'm going with the Doc. I love him. He's hilarious. He's not going to win, but I think with more stupid things that happen in the game, and the more he disagrees with the stupid things, and he's going to ramble on with confessionals, and he's just going to have these hot takes that are correct, but like no one's going to do it. And he's just going to be like a villain that people are going to love, people are going to hate, people are getting polarized. He's saying neurosurgeon 15,000 times. People are going to get drunk if that's a drinking game. I think people are going to either hate to love him, or love to hate him, or love him, or he's going to be a character to watch. I think he's the most entertaining for me because I want to go and rock my own people.
All right, so those are our thoughts. Let's real quickly, one more thing from episode 1. Who is your winner pick?
Chantelle.
Shan.
Shan.
Okay,
Shan.
so we're all on board with Shan as our winner pick. You can drop us a comment below. Let us know who you think is going to be the eventual winner of Survivor 41. Do you think our takes are completely off? Maybe you have a different dark horse. Just let us know what you think and drop all your thoughts about the episode. We are going to be live every Wednesday night from here on out, about 15, 20, 30 minutes after the episode. So you can be looking for us on Wednesday night starting next week. As Stan hinted, we are going to have some guests with us for a lot of this season. So Stan, who's going to be with us next week?
So I'm gonna keep you guys under surprise. So first of all, like and subscribe, like the video, subscribe to the For the Fans channel. It's gonna be great. We are planning to bring survivors that have played this game. I want people that are going to be there's every single survivor that's played this game is invested. I'm gonna invite a bunch of survivors. We're gonna try to get them on For the Fans. Hop on as the fourth person this next week. I'm not gonna reveal it yet, so I'm gonna drop it. I'm gonna drop it sometime this week, and it's gonna be fun because people are gonna be excited to hear what their takes are. I'm bringing a lot of people of color, hopefully, that have played this game and giving their take on representation, diversity, and how Survivor has kind of evolved from when they played the game. So it's gonna be fun. So I'd love for you guys to subscribe and watch us. I'm gonna be here all season, so love me or hate me, like Dr. Death, you're stuck with me. So I think we're gonna bring some fan favorites, some big fan favorites this season.
Yeah, so we'll be having a Survivor alumni join us hopefully every week starting next week. So make sure that you're ready to
trying to get reality stars, because a lot of reality stars that might not necessarily be in Survivor but are huge super fans. We're gonna try to bring them in too. So not just Survivor, but other games too. So can't wait. It's going to be fun.
Frank, what do you have coming up? Literally.
So much. Tomorrow night, although I won't get to participate, there's going to be a game night on For the Fans. I sadly won't make it. My wife was cool enough to, on our 5-year wedding anniversary, fell on Survivor premiere night. So she was cool enough to go with me, watch Survivor, and do all that. So this weekend, I'm going to be taking her out to dinner and celebrating our 5-year anniversary. So I won't be able to participate in game night. DeLucas, who covers the challenge with us, me and him coming up in October, we're going to be on Mayhem Manor, so look out for that. DeLucas is going to be super entertaining. I'm going to try and bring his entertainment level, but I look forward to it. And I can't wait to meet up with you guys next week and every other day when we meet up to another.
So immediately following this podcast, we're going to have a breakdown of the games of our 2 booted contestants. So Frank and his crew are going to be covering that. And on Saturday, we will be bringing you our challenge recap. Stan, you have one more thing you want to say?
I did play a live game that's going to be aired on YouTube on October 3. It's called Live to Give. It's a charity Survivor event in Minnesota. And next week might be someone from that show.
Okay, so that's a little teaser for y'all. So make sure you check out Live to Give on YouTube if you want to see a live game with some celebrities, some past contestants of different game shows, and some regular folks too, like our Dr. Stan. So we will catch you all next week. And like we said, like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye, y'all.
Bye.